Hello, and today we are here to interview Keith Denholm from Grainger and Worrall. We're going to ask Keith a few questions about his role at Grainger and Worrall. So, Keith, could you introduce yourself and your position within the company?
Right, hi Leanne. Yes, I'm Keith Denholm. I'm Engineering and Technology Director at Grainger and Worrall.
Brilliant. And could you give us a brief background about the company and what the company specialises in?
Yes, I'd love to. The company is based in Bridgnorth in Shropshire, and we are essentially an engineering and manufacturing company specialising in complex castings. That isn't as dull as it sounds, I can guarantee that. Our products are very exciting. You'll find them in Formula 1 cars, supercars, things that fly in the sky. So we manufacture and engineer very complicated things for some very blue chip companies.
Fantastic. And could you give us a bit of background about yourself and how you got into the position you are in?
Yes, I've been very fortunate, firstly. I left school with not much of a plan at 16 and started an apprenticeship. And I left school with little or no inspiration to learn. And that changed when I went to college. I met some inspirational lecturers and they helped me develop, and at year 2 I was nominated to go to university. So as one of only 3 in the whole north of England for my company, I saw it as a great opportunity, not least for myself, but also to respect the offer from the company, and I tried really hard. And I then did an engineering degree, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
Fantastic. And do you have any advice that you would give to any prospective apprentice?
We have a lot of apprentices in Grainger and Worrall, and having been an apprentice, I still remember the days. I think that at the general level, it's about engagement. Boredom is a sin. So I always caution any apprentices that if I find them looking bored, I won't be very happy. But the way to deal with that is to make sure that you involve apprentices, that you try and stimulate an interest. I don't expect apprentices to arrive with any knowledge. That's for us to impart, but it's for the apprentice to extract. It's for them to take the opportunity to learn. So I look for apprentices' level of interest. Young people with new faces stand out in an organisation like this. So my advice to an apprentice would be, you will be seen. So let's make sure you're seen in a good light, and you need to be aware of the shadow you're casting in and amongst your peers, because when there are jobs and opportunities, you want to be the one that we all want to give to you.
So that actually addresses part of my next question, really, in terms of what are you looking for in a potential apprentice? What skills and attributes would you look for? So you say that they don't need to necessarily be skilled in engineering, but what other skills and attributes might you look for in an apprentice?
Well, it's a great question, because one of the realities of a business of our size is that whilst we are an engineering and manufacturing company, we have to sell our products, we have to count our finances, we have to carry out administration, we have to project manage. So a lot of people can enter this business who don't have an engineering background or indeed want to be in engineering. It doesn't preclude them from a career in a company that engineers or manufactures. So I think it's necessary that apprentices take a broader look at the style of work, the culture of a workplace, the environment in which it is, before being too judgmental about whether they fit or perceive to fit the role. It's important that people take the view that with hopefully a long and healthy life ahead of them, they're going to have to work for a lot of that time. And therefore it's important that they look to enjoy that role, and that they think that they have whatever the skill set is to do well in that role. If they don't feel either of those things apply, my advice would be to keep looking.
Fantastic. So do you have any other valuable advice that you'd give to an apprentice other than what you've already said?
Just be noticed. You're on a journey. Very often the first step can seem a little bit lost and what have you, but over time things start to fall into shape, and to really just try and capture the opportunity to learn. And at a young age, the expectations really should just be to get away from being taught mode into the mode of actually learning for oneself.
Okay, so in terms of getting noticed, how could I do that as a potential apprentice? How can I get noticed by yourself?
Okay, that's a great question. So I often ask questions, because I'm an EA advisor and I talk to students at school, and I often pose the question, how do you progress in a career career? And sometimes it seems like an obvious question, but it's actually a difficult one for people to answer. So I often offer the advice that the best way to progress is to just be influential, be somebody who can make things happen. Because then people in the organisation, the management structure will say, there's a person there who can make things happen. I'd like to get them to do this role for me. So how you influence people is manifold. It might be through your personal interactions, so obviously be aware of that. It might be through your unique skills, so be aware of that. So my advice would be to find the thing that you think can make you different from the rest and develop it, and work it, and hopefully get acknowledgement for that, because that in turn gives the encouragement to go again and again and again. And over a long career, you look back at these opportunities that were presented to you, as I had when I left school with no qualifications and ended up doing what I did, as little things had happened, that opportunities were taken to go in the right direction.
Fantastic. So if I had the opportunity to come and work for Grainger and Worrall, what sort of opportunities would there be here? What sort of job roles do you generally advertise?
Well, our business is quite technical. We employ a lot of technology, a lot of digital technologies, CAD, and a lot of validation technologies which use CT and optical scanning, a lot of software development, that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily all that is seen to be associated with a manufacturing company. But we're a global business as well, so we travel. COVID aside, we normally clock up a lot of M1s every year. My team are routinely in China, in America, we travel as far as Japan, routinely. So there's a whole host of opportunities for engaging people in the thing that they might like to do the most. And as I said earlier, not everything is hands-on engineering. A lot of it can be project management, or it can be more inward-looking around aspects of corporate finance or administration. Fantastic.
Well, thank you for your time today, Keith. It's inspired me, and I might even try and look for a job myself at Grainger and Worrall. So thank you for your time.